Catch this rhythm. You feel that? That's called playerism. I'm on the scene, a player clean, poker face, 4 queens. I got 4 of a kind on everything. Diggers living elite, I don't feel complete without kicking at my feet in a Rolls Royce every week. Maybe this is deep. Listen close when I speak. I need to at least, cause I'm too much. I'll be a fool if I love him, You'll be a fool if you trust him, Here with my niggas, we keeping it gangsta. Yeah, I'm a slayer, I'm just keeping it player. I'm fucking her now, we're man eating it later. That's maybe why he is a hater. I'm wearing all black like I'm being a raider. You talk to police, we call you a traitor. I'm running the city, they call me for favors. I'm running the city, they call me the mayor. Lyrical Whitney, my sweet presidential. She give me the canary diamonds as I'm flying Canary Islands on a one-way. Fresh Easter Sunday, yes, I touched the runway. I'm blessed, she looks like she just left the runway. She wanna stay with me in this Disney fantasy and never go home like a runaway.
I'll be up before the daylight, that's why I'm getting paid, right? I'll be all in. I work hard and play hard until I hit the graveyard. I'll be all in.
I am going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable. And I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Peace to the saints. I'd be thankful if you would confirm that you can hear me through this microphone and that you can see me in HD. I thank you all for your patience as I've been trying to go live on Facebook for the last 20 minutes. And as it turns out that Facebook has blocked me from going live. Maybe we'll be able to get that figured out sometime soon. I want to deliver a really important message to you all today. If you wouldn't mind, I'm going to start with a short anecdote. As we go through, if you have any comments, questions, you want to share a story or run a question by me, feel free to use the information below in this red banner or the information in the description. If you'd like to support, you can use a Stripe link. That's one of the easiest ways to support. Of course, Venmo, or even you can use my PayPal email address. I'm going to give you guys a brief story to ground this conversation. As many of you may be aware, I grew up very poor in an American ghetto. And in fact, I was of the poorer kids in the ghetto. One of the fortunes some of you young men may have is that an older male, a man, or just a kid older than you might find it in his heart that he would take you under his wing, treat you like a little brother, treat you like a son. And you know, you're really blessed when you experience that because no one owes you anything, especially if you are not of their blood. My good fortune is that I had a good friend named Ryan, whom I went to elementary school with. He had an older brother named Kevin. And as Ryan and I were good friends, and his older brother was a lot older than him, took me under his wing and became like a brother and a father to me. He taught me a lot of things and really shaped my personality. And he did an important thing that males do for other males, or I should say men do for boys, which is he forced me to develop. He forced me to grow. You see, sometimes we think everything has to be a choice, but there's some realities of being a man. There's some fires that you must walk through. If you have the unfortunate situation of growing up with your mother's bosom constantly on your face, or growing up and thinking that the world is kinder and softer than it is, you will not thrive. You will not be prepared. You won't be able to deal with the challenging things. And also, you won't be able to be brave enough to pursue the greatest things in this world. So anyways, my best friend's older brother mentored me and took me under his wing. And he created in me a lot of the great traits that have allowed me to thrive. And what I want you all to understand, I always talk to you about health, wealth, relationships. Health, wealth, relationships. We're talking specifically about relationships today. You may not realize, but relationships mostly are what color your experience here on the planet Earth, and it provides your happiness. And many of you are in lack of rich relationships, and that's because of the way the modern society is organized. If you do something good or something impressive, you want someone to pat you on the head, even if you're not a child. If you are a toddler, you do something. Hey, mom, look at this. Hey, dad, look at I'm so strong. Or hey, mom, look how high I can jump. You have to show someone what you can do. And then that older person or that authority figure says, good job. And then you feel satisfied. You feel like you've been seen. You've been acknowledged. It's very important. That's why it's critical to give a decent amount of attention to your children or even to your younger siblings. It's important for their development. We don't want them to think that they deserve all the attention all of the time, but it's critical. You seek to be approved of. This is a natural human instinct. It's problematic when you seek too much to be approved of, or when you fail to mature and you don't know how to tell yourself, hey, Marquett, you did a good job. Hey, self, you did a good job. Anyways, there's another thing involved in relationships that we often seek, which is the idea of people knowing you. What do I mean by that? You want certain people to know you, to fundamentally understand you, so that you don't have to say everything, so that there's just a level of familiarity. Like you expect your parents to know you because they raised you. They helped create you. You would hope that your best friend knows you, your spouse knows you, so you don't have to say so much. They can look at you and tell if you're satisfied, happy, sad, depressed, mad, glad, pleased, excited. We want to be known. And a part of being known is, that person knowing where you come from, knowing your struggles, knowing your history. For you to be truly satisfied and feel like you've accomplished something, it's not only what you do that you can see, but it's also the people around you acknowledging, hey, you did a good job. And it means so much more if the people around you know where you started and they know how far you have come. Yes? So what I'm saying to you is this. If you become a millionaire and you're Donald Trump, then it's not terribly impressive because people are like, bro, you started off as a millionaire. Your dad was a millionaire. He gave you $1 million loan. Like, bro, like what's going on? And you know the truth and the people around you know the truth, and it doesn't have so much meaning. But if you're Donald Trump and you become a billionaire, then it's like, okay, bro, like you really did something. Like, yeah, you started with $1 million. That's a lot of money, but you became a billionaire. You really did something. Knowing where you started matters a lot. Or if you started in utter poverty and then you become middle class or you get a college degree or fill in the blank, it's really important that there's somebody who's an anchor. They've seen you from the beginning and they can be proud of you and what you have done as a man or as a woman. I say that to say, Kevin, Ryan's older brother, who is like a mentor, the big homie, a father to me, I remember when he passed away unexpectedly. And I truly mean unexpectedly. I was young. I was in my mid-20s and he was young, probably in his early 30s. And all of a sudden, he's gone. And I panicked because, one, he knows the mud that I was born into. And he's seen me fight and fight to get out of the quicksand that I was misplaced into. And at the time, I'd been hustling hard. I was living in Asia, running a tech company of my own making. And I was on the verge of becoming very successful, very wealthy. And I hadn't yet had the chance to bring it all back to him and say, Kev, look what I did. Like, you knew I had it in me, and look, here it is. Let's enjoy together. He was all of a sudden dead, and I hadn't seen him in several years because I had been living in South Korea, building my tech corporation, trying to amass a fortune so that I could say, hey, look what I did. Like, I really had the goods. Like, you believed in me. Like, you invested in me. You did the right thing. I was a good pick. You picked a winner. And, when I was young, because I was raised to be very grateful, and I never got any freebies in life. Like, I never got any advantages. I was born in the mud. You hear me? Like, in the ghetto. I was the poorest kid in the ghetto. Like, I never got handouts. I always appreciated things. And if anyone ever did me any favor or anything, it just meant so much to me because I had so little. And, when you're poor, and I know many of you may be able to relate to this, everything is counted when you're poor, right? And unfortunately, a lot of poor people, they're wicked. They're very wicked. Not to say that wealthy people aren't wicked, but you see, when you're poor and you need a ride somewhere, then there's a concept of gas money. Oh, do you have gas money? Which is to say, I can't do anything for you for free. You have to pay me. Even though I might be your relative, I might be your good friend, you have to pay me. I can't do anything for free. You need to give me some gas money or do something for me. Ass, cash, or grass. Which one you got? And so even when I was very, very young, as a child, I always knew that there was a concept of that you're going to owe. If someone does something for you, you owe them. You don't get to just benefit. There's not enough abundance in this environment for us to give freely. There is scarcity in this environment. There's wickedness. There's treachery in this environment. So if someone does something for you or offers to do something, you either A, should not accept it, or B, you should accept it knowing that you're going to owe. And that's why I always tell you guys, pay what you owe, because I grew up in an environment where you don't pay what you owe. That can be a life-threatening issue. So when I was a youngster, I might have a basketball game and he was our basketball coach, or I might have some other thing I had to do or somewhere I had to be. And my mother was a single mom by her own choosing. Every single mom is a single mom by her own choosing. And she was working 3 jobs, as she would put it. I work 3 jobs to provide for you kids. Sit y'all ass down. It's like they think they're bragging to say that they work 3 jobs. Like that was a good idea. I'm just like 8 years old. Like, yo, I didn't tell you to work 3 jobs. Like, what makes you think I signed up for this? I didn't ask to be here. And if I did ask to be here, I wouldn't be in your family. I would have picked that wealthy white family down the block. Not down the block. We didn't live down the block for many whites, but you get the point. So, mom, of course, is absent a lot because she's working. And this is because she knows not what life is about, knows not how to manage herself. A woman without instruction is headed straight for destruction. So a lot of times I was self-managed, or I was under the management of other older boys, or Kevin, which was maybe one of the best stewards I might have. In some ways good, and in some ways maybe not so much. I mean, the man had me in the strip club at like age, like in the 4th grade. It's crazy, but it created in me something unique. So anyways, as I said, I'm in South Korea, working my butt off, trying to become the Black Mark Zuckerberg. And then I find that he has passed away. So I hurry to get to his funeral. And it was the first time that I'd really been torn up, like emotional. Because as they say, niggas die every day, B. Niggas die every day, B. So look at this person's completely brainless. Look at this person. Those boxing trunks are real. You need to use better English, my dear boy. I recommend the Master Communicator course. If someone can drop the link for him to the Master Communicator course, this is called Diction. Are they real? Well, if they're not real, that would mean that they're a figment of your imagination. No, that's not AI. These are actually frames, and these are boxing trunks with my name on them. It actually took quite a pretty penny to get them framed. It was really hard. My assistant had to go high and low to find someone to do it. So Are they real? Yes, you idiot, they're real. What do you think? It's a figment of your imagination? Stupidity. Again, so there you go. Here's the master communicator course. Diction, meaning word choice, is very important, but also an important part of communication is thinking through what to say and what not to say. You see, because sometimes you say things that are off color or off putting, and then people don't like you or they think you're an imbecile. So it's really important to be in control of this tool here. It's called your brain. And when you fail to use your brain, sometimes you hurt your opportunities. Like, for example, right now I'm going to block you. And the reason I'm blocking you is because in the rare instance that I do look at the chat, I don't want to see stupid comments. I don't want to see dumb comments, particularly because this topic has nothing to do with boxing at all. It has nothing to do with boxing, nothing to do with combat. So you're blocked. And see, that didn't have to happen to you if you would just use your brain and say, okay, based on my own self-interest, what is my goal here in this moment as a man, as a human being? These are the kind of things that I teach you, and it's going to help get you to the top. When you're living in a way that's not masculine and you have effeminate, foolish, immature thinking, you're easily distracted. You have an ADHD mentality, and everything that doesn't matter does matter to you, right? Like, you might be thinking, Marquett, like, well, does that fireplace work? Is that a real fireplace? Bro, who cares? Like, are those real boxing tricks? Who cares? Marquett, what's that on your head? It's a condom. It's a condom on my, like, who cares? Like, the stupidity. And this is precisely why I don't talk to everyday people, because they're fools. They're fools. I mean, quite frankly, they're fools. Okay. Anyways, so back to the story, and this is leading somewhere important. So I hurry back, and this was the first time that I was unable to contain myself, and I was unaware. I was going to say some words at the, it wasn't quite the funeral. It was like the thing before the funeral. I forget what it was. And I just expected to say what I got to say, because I'm not like a cry kind of character. Like, that's not really my thing. I learned very early as a child that when you cry, it just gives you a headache. Like, it doesn't solve any of your actual problems. So anyways, I started talking, and I just broke down because he meant so much to me. He had given me so much that I never got to give back. And I pay what I owe. I fully intended to give back, to return to him, to return what he had given me: kindness, consideration, financial support, all kinds of things, however small, right? Like, which is to say, like, he never said, hey, Mark, he used to call me Mark, where's your gas money? He never said anything like that, right? Whereas everyone else did. And I realized in that moment, like, wow, he meant so much. And he was an anchor in my life. He's one of the few people who know me, especially after I had left the place that I grew up, because a lot of my friends were dead. A lot of my friends were locked in prison. I'm never going to see them again because I cannot. And I got disconnected from my roots in as much as I'm in the tech industry as a black kid from an LA ghetto. There's no one like me around. I can't even really relate to these people, and I don't want to. So he was an important anchor. And even my mother never could really comprehend what I'm doing in the world. So when I come back to her and say, hey, I achieved this, or I did that, it doesn't have any like real meaning to her. So that really tore me up. And then what tore me up even more days after that is realizing, well, not only can I not return anything he's given me in the way of help, support, guidance, I can't deliver on the potential he knew I had, like show him that I've delivered on it. But more importantly, I just didn't get to spend time. I didn't get to, there was so much more laughter, so many more jokes. We could have went out to Vegas and turned up. We could have went to the boxing matches. We could have went to the stand-up comedy shows. We could have went on double dates. We could have went out spitting game. We could have traveled the world. We could have spent time together, like just time together. And I did not do that. I was really, to be honest with you, I was trying to make a bag, and I was working very hard on that. And so it made me realize that if you have a relationship, namely a friendship, and you don't see your friends, it's not a friendship. It's fake. And if that person clocks out or you clock out, maybe you'll be sad, or maybe you'll just think that you're sad. So here's the difference between you and me. I'm warning you right now that there are people that you enjoy, people that you love, people that you like a lot, people that support you and teach you a lot of things. And you should spend as much time with them as possible. So I didn't get to hear that. And I want to tell you that now. So if, say, for example, your family member or someone you love passes away, you now no longer have the right to cry at their funeral if you haven't seen them in a year. My advice to you, instead of crying at their funeral, is just to say to yourself, well, I haven't seen them in a year. So instead of crying at the funeral, like pretending I missed them and pretending I'm sad, I'm going to behave the way I've been behaving for the last year, which is to be fine without them. That is what I'm giving to you. That's the gift I'm giving to you. And if the person does matter, treat them now like they matter. Go see them. Invite them over to your house. Spend time with them. Even if you can't even talk, even if you're both just working at Starbucks, but you're together, go for walks with them, go on jogs with them, spend time. One of the things that I really appreciate about this thing of ours is that, I regularly see the saints, and my home is always open to the saints. One of the saints in Florida was just telling me that he's coming up to Atlanta for, whatever reason. And he says, hey, I might stop by the plantation. I said, yeah, just give me 2 days heads up. Let me know. Let's hang out. Come through. I'd love to have you. And the truth is, that's always the case. Is I'd love to have you. I would love to have friends and family at my home all the time. And I'm going to have a leadership summit for my executives around the world in a couple of days. And one of the executives says, hey, I'm coming early and I'm leaving late. Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. We'll make sure that we have a bedroom for you. No problem. Because the truth of the matter is that, I have friends who are alive and are not in prison, or like 3 of them, and they don't make enough of an effort. In one case, I don't make enough of an effort, and I'm going to change that. But many of them, they don't make enough of an effort. I invite them out to things, and the only conclusion that I can reasonably make is that we're not friends. Not that we're like enemies or anything like that, but we're not really friends. Because, if I drop dead, they'd all be at my funeral crying. Right? Like, I love that nigga, man. Like, Quet was a real, I remember when we was young. Yeah, well, we're not young anymore. We're adults. And we can both make an effort to spend time with each other. And one thing I want to caution you guys away from, and this might sound counterintuitive, is that sometimes you all will get into a relationship, or you'll have children, or you'll get married, and you will become attached at the hip to your spouse. And it's all well and good to love your spouse. Sometimes you guys become women and you start following female thinking, which is, you'll hear women say, oh, I want my partner. This is already ridiculous. I want my partner to be my best friend. Well, this is ludicrous. A man and a woman should never be best friends, your husband and wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, what have you. You cannot be best friends if he's a masculine man and you're a feminine woman. And the reason that you cannot be best friends is I'll give you an example. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I feel everything is firing 100%. I go get my workout in. I feel vigorous. I feel all of the life from the world is inside of me, and I'm bursting with energy, and the power is raging. And I go and do my workout and I feel great. It was effortless. God was with me. Then other times I'm moving a little slower, feeling a little stiffer. The willpower might not be there. And I wish so badly that I had one of the saints around, one of the homies around to do some sparring or to do some fencing or to do some pull-ups with, just to talk crazy to each other, get each other motivated. And the reality is that my wife or my girlfriend or my lady would not have the same effect on me because we can't go push up for push up, pull up for pull up. She's not going to box with me and spar with me. We're not going to start jogging and then I'm going to keep running because I'm in competition with her, striving together. She can never be my best friend. We don't actually enjoy the same things. I might watch a movie and, it might be about a gladiator and he ripped somebody's throat out or ripped their heart out of their chest and he's holding it in his hand and it's still pulsating. And I'm looking at it like, yeah, or I'm rooting. I'm not gonna lie, I be rooting for the bad guy in the movies. Yeah, I'm the super villain. And it's all testosterone. Whereas my old lady might be like, not wanting to see it. We can never be best friends. Half the time, if she has a long story to tell, I don't want to hear the whole story. Save that for your actual best friend, because I'm not your best friend. Tell that to your girlfriend. Tell that to your mother. Tell it to your sister. Tell it to someone who can actually focus for the 30 minutes you're about to tell this irrelevant story of what happened to you when you went to Kroger and you were trying to find some dryer sheets and then all these things happened to you that are none of which are interesting, very mundane, but they'll be able to track that story and it'll have more meaning. Whereas me, I need a plot and a punchline to the story. And that's because we're built differently, psychologically, biologically, we're wired differently. And as a masculine man, I know that some of my instincts and some of the conversation I want to have is not appropriate to have with my wife or my lady, my girlfriend. She's not interested. Even if she was interested, it wouldn't be appropriate to share. We're different. And we fail as men when we fall into our woman too much. Now you might say, well, Marquett, do women fail as women when they fall into their man too much? No, that's actually what they're supposed to do. That is why if they could spend every moment with you, if they love you, if they can spend every moment with you, they will. Come on now. Come on now. If they could spend every moment with you, they would. Because a real woman who is living in a natural way, her goal is her man. A man actually has a goal outside of the family in the areas of health, wealth, and relationships. Come on now. They have a big financial goal. They're trying to make $1 million, take better care of their family. They're trying to expand their name, their power and influence as a man. Whereas a woman's goal is to get a man and build a family and enjoy that sphere. Come on now. So a woman should fall into her man. A man should not fall into his woman unless he lacks testosterone or there's something effeminate about him. I can't tell you how disgusted I am when I sometimes go out in the world and I see the man and the woman wearing matching sweatsuits and they both look like thick bitches. You hear me? I'm like, damn, this nigga look like a thick ass bitch. That's crazy. What is going on? They both wearing J's and scrunchy socks and some tight sweatpants. Is this ball wearing a thong under there? Like, what's going on here? It's concerning. You've fallen into your woman too much. You're like her friend. She won't respect your authority and your leadership. It's kind of the same thing like when people become friends with their children. I will never become friends with my child. My child should always think of me as kind of like a pit bull. Yeah, there's some loyalty and love, but this thing might snap and devour me. There should never be that level of comfort. Like, I don't ever want my kid to like slap me on my back. Like, hey, that was funny, huh? Like, don't touch me like that. Who are you? We must maintain position and hierarchy. And if we don't, we're lost. So what happens, You as a male, as a man, you fall too much into your woman, thereby behaving as a female, displaying the traits of the female. Come on now. And you ignore your other relationships that actually stabilize you. You don't hang out with the homies at all. You don't spend time with the guys. And here's what happens with these guys. And somebody tell me I'm wrong. When you see these guys out who are they're friends with their girlfriend or their wife is their best friend. Do you ever notice that the man's body looks like his wife's body? Come on now. Come on. Let's talk about it. The ball's body looked like the broad's body because he's become weak. He's become weak. Yes. And why has he become weak? Because there are not other men around to keep him strong. Come on now. Come on. Listen to me. When I'm just around my old lady, I'm a legend in my own mind. You heard me? I'm a legend in my own mind. I don't know if I'm not really in good physical shape. I need my young bulls around here so I could figure out like, oh man, I'm lacking. You heard me? I need Isaiah around doing them damn calisthenics, like hanging upside down on the pull-up bar so I can be like, God damn, I got to get my shit together. You heard me? I need Yassine around and we're running long distance so I could be like, bro, like, man, I really got to improve my wind. You feel me? I need Cam around on the football field. So I'm like, God, man, I got to run my sprints, man. I got to run my sprints. I need people around so I can measure up and say, that's what excellence looks like in that area. That's what excellence looks like in this particular discipline that is of a man's sphere. Come on now. And women get off point too. Women get off point when they're just around their man. They don't have other women as a comparison basis or as an outlet. We're going to get into it. Let me go ahead and take a pause for the cause. Shout out to Gary supporting the work. Came in using the Stripe link in the description. I appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. May I also acknowledge Clay, who came in before the live session even started. Let me also acknowledge Andre, right? Supporting a dear friend, Peace of the Saints. I appreciate you. Shout out to Andre. I think he's coming out with a new product, another product too. He's about to get another bulk order. Shout out to Jefferson. He writes, thank you for your consistent efforts, Mr. Burton. I'm not sure how tedious it might be to seek out new platforms to upload content. It is very tedious, and I've been making a great study of it, actually. So since I was banned, I've been deep in the study. Shout out to Danny. He writes, Peace of the Saints. Have you ever heard of the T app? Some chick I was with was showing me yesterday, and I saw a lot of guys on there, and I used to go to school with, and chicks were throwing dirt on their names. Quote, he has herpes. That's crazy. Quote, he has a small wee-wee. That's very promiscuous. It was wicked. Thoughts? Well, these are the kind of things that attract low-life, low-class people. Listen, I was just speaking with someone today, and I forget exactly what the conversation was, but Shorty says something to the effect of like, oh, like, that's what people oh yeah, I remember now. I said, hey, it took you 43 minutes to get ready to go. She says, oh, well, it takes most women an hour and a half. I said, ha 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 ha. What do we have to do with most women? Like, how do we relate to average people? We have no relation to average people. They're animals. They're uncivilized. They're dim-witted. They're low income. We have nothing to do with them. Why would you compare yourself to an average person? I don't compare myself to an average man. Right? Do you want me to have an average income? You want me to have an average height? You want me to have an average man's physical fitness? Really lack thereof. You want me to have an average man's style? We have nothing to do with average people. We don't want to be like that. So it's irrelevant. So what average people think and what average people do is very much so divorced from what bosses do. It's divorced from what saints do, from what lady saints do. We have a higher standard. I say that to say this, like poor people, idiots, average people, the wicked, they're always going to do these silly things. They're going to be on OF. They're going to be on the T app. They're going to be doing all these things. And we should separate ourselves from such persons or people who engage in these occupations. And one thing that I find to be particularly concerning is one, a lot of this stuff is probably lies, I'm guessing. And for the things that are true, you have to wonder how they know these things. If that young lady says that old boy has whatever STI, you like, did he give it to you? Or if she says like, old boy ain't got no, say the pipe is the mini rocket. Well, it's like, well, really, when you think about it, if you snatch is tight, baby, you prefer something smaller. But if your snatch is, kind of cavernous, then you gonna need him to hit you with that big missile. You hear me? So all the chick is really saying is that she loose and she needs somebody to fill the gap. There's a big gap. That's all she's saying. But again, the thoughts, ideas, and activities of average people is nothing for great men and great women to even consider. Like, these people are imbeciles. This is how they keep themselves busy, when they're not spending money on credit cards and, eating Krispy Kreme donuts, or, gossiping or watching, soap operas and binging Tubi. This is the stuff they do. You feel me? They're like animals, really. And you have to think of it that way. You really do. And you're never going to move toward greatness until you see a significant difference in yourself and in the average person. If you don't look at them and look down on their ways, you will be like them. If you don't truly look, like, for example, today, my phones were bugged, so I had to get some new phones. And I went into one particular store and I asked them, like, hey, how long will X, Y, and Z take? Now, she wanted to make some money, so she lied. She said, oh, it'll take about an hour. I said, are you sure? She said, yeah, it'll take an hour. I come back, it's taking like 5 hours. But anyways, I shouldn't have trusted her off rip, because she's overweight. And an overweight person, especially an overweight female, they have no decency. How could you trust someone who's overweight? They have no decency, right? So I should have known from the beginning. And that was my mistake for dealing voluntarily with someone who's overweight when there was 2 other employees who were not overweight. Now, granted, they were busy, but I should have just waited. I should have just waited to deal with someone that probably has more honor. Come on now. You might be like, Marquett, you're crazy. No. It's the small victories that add up to the big victory. The idea of dealing with someone who's more trustworthy is a great value. If someone is gluttonous, they're wearing their sin. They can't even hide their sin. Like, for example, some of you guys are, you're jack-off artists. You're artists with it. You hear me? Yeah, every day. You beating your meat. You jumping your meat. Rodney King on your meat. But here's the thing. You can hide that. You can lie about that. It is shameful, but you can hide it and you can lie about it. The gluttonous, they have no level of shame. Their vice is visible to the world and they keep going. I don't even think I could eat in public if I was a fat person. I'd feel like people are watching me. They're watching me. Why is everybody staring at me in the buffet? Because you shouldn't be here, sis. That's why. Biggin, you should be saving money on food right now. Indeed. But the point is, don't ever identify with average people. You don't want to be average in any way. Number 2, make every effort to deal with good people. And when someone's displaying an obvious vice, that's an obvious reason to avoid them. And I may say these things jokingly, but I'm dead serious. I have legitimate regret that I voluntarily did a transaction with an overweight woman who, in fact, lied to me. And I should have known she would lie to me, because she's lying to herself. She's lying to herself. How can you put on makeup over your face and put on perfume, but your stomach is hanging, your stomach is hanging down? When you walk, your stomach is jiggling. You're lying to yourself. She's a deluded person, not a mentally well person. And you guys might think that I'm teasing or being hyperbolic. No, I'm actually serious. If you're overweight, you're a mentally ill person. You're a person who is taking your own life slowly but surely. You eat, you can feel that you're full, but you keep going because there's a deeper emptiness that has nothing to do with your stomach. They're mentally ill. And I assure you, in our society, we have widespread mental illness. And I know because I've traveled around the world, and there's so many places that are more developed. They have stronger economies, greater access to capital. Food could be overconsumed. There are other places where there's less money, less access to capital. And you see that the obesity pops up where the society and the culture is sick. It doesn't pop up because the people have a lot of money. It doesn't pop up because the people lack money. Like, for example, Brazil's a lower income place and they have significant levels of obesity. I don't know how well it's documented, but I've seen it with my own eyes. They're a poor country and still obese. We're a wealthy country and still obese. There's countries wealthier than ours. There's no obesity. Switzerland, no obesity. Australia, are they looking like that, like us? I don't know. I haven't been down there. I was supposed to go, but long story short, I'm not going to say what I want to say, but there's a reason I didn't go down there. I actually have my visa and everything. It's terrible what happened to me. Terrible. Anyways, may I acknowledge? Oh yeah, and I want to acknowledge someone in the chat because I did, in fact, he sent $1,000 in, not this stream. It was some time ago, and I did receive it. And I do want to acknowledge him. So let me find that chat. There it is, Franklin. Shout out to Franklin. He writes, "Hey, bro, did my $1,000 super check go through? I was just wondering." Yes, it did. And I thank you for that. I really appreciate it. You came in a big way. So thank you. That's not the record. The record is $1,111 by Sean Telfer. So shout out to Sean and shout out to Franklin. He's in second place here. And that's huge because this is over many years, right? This is since like 2020. I started live streaming 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, over 6 years. That's pretty damn good to have had the second largest super chat. So shout out. That's baller stuff right there. You dig? And it's a beautiful thing because when you can give big, that means that you're living big. You heard me? That means you're living well. It's nothing to a boss. So shout out to him. Balling. You dig? We are not done with this topic. We got a lot to dig into. Some good information, food for thought. And if you actually follow, if you take seriously what I'm telling you, I assure you, you're about to improve your quality of life. I promise you. And you're going to avoid a lot of problems in all of your relationships, romantic and otherwise. Shout out to Ramon supporting the work. Appreciate you. May I also acknowledge Mr. Ruffin writes, "Peace of the Saints, tuition, Sass in Miami." Shout out to Mr. Ruffin, very consistent. Shout out to Mr. Naeem. He writes, "Peace of the Saints. I've always appreciated you for weeding the comment section of idiots." Bro, I'm trying to tell you, man. If I see somebody even like post the same question or comment like 4 times, I'll get them up out of there for that too, man. I have no tolerance. And the reason I have no tolerance is because like, why have tolerance? Why? For what? Shout out to Joseph writes, "Peace of the Saints." Shout out to Joseph, very consistent. May I also acknowledge Mr. Easterling writes, "Peace of the Saints. Thank you for this live. I find having solid friends to be one of those things I've had difficulty with finding at my age of 23. Wow, that sucks. Young man." He writes, "Furthermore, life has been good. 8 months left of my nursing program." Shout out to all the nurses. We got a lot of folks in nursing in this thing of ours, and it's a very strong, profitable degree. You have great skills. Highly recommend it. Shout out to Constantine supporting the work. He's been coming in a lot recently. Shout out to Andre. He writes, "Same product, sir. Just a larger bulk order." Okay, let's work. He writes, "Time to push the chest bag to new markets." Oh, absolutely. I hope you got it on Amazon as well. I also acknowledge, and I have the product as well. It's a great product. Shout out to Mr. Harris writes, "Peace of the Saints for the work." Sir, yes, sir. May I also acknowledge Wayne. He writes, "Tuition, peace of the Saints." Shout out to Frank, writes, "Tuition." May I also acknowledge Mark. He writes, "Peace to the Saints." Yes, indeed, peace of the Saints. Mr. Gardner writes, "Peace of the Saints. This is a great topic, Saint. Nobody does it better." Nate Dogg. Nobody. Bro, shout out to Nate Dogg. Shout out to all the people on the West Coast. Wayne writes, "We get reminded of the bad on repeat. We need good reminders, such as donating to the training center." Indeed. I don't actually think I have the link in the description. We're having some trouble because this was supposed to be on Facebook. So if someone would post it, we'd appreciate it. I also acknowledge Caleb writes, "Peace of Saints. Just reached out to a friend I grew up with in Anchor. As always, thank you for your guidance." Oh, absolutely. And the best time to take action is now. It's a time called now. I also acknowledge Brad supporting the work. Appreciate you. Yes, indeed. Let's keep working. Thank you, Chung. Appreciate you. Now let's keep working. So what'll happen a lot of times when someone ends up in a serious relationship or in a marriage, especially if they have kids, they're spending all their time, these guys, with their wife and their kids. And that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with spending time with your wife and your kids. You have to realize that your wife and your kids will literally always be there. They'll be there every time you wake up. So you have to carve out time for your business affairs, for your business relationships, and for your friendships, because you may need your friendships. And there's nothing worse than thinking someone's your friend. Listen to me now. Thinking someone's your friend, but you haven't spent time with them. You haven't made the opportunities for you guys to come together and reaffirm the bond. And then you reach out to them and you ask for something because they're your friend. You need something. And then they don't respond. Or they say, hey, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Or I ain't got it on me. And what that really is a representation of, it's a representation of them rationally saying, well, we don't see each other. We never really talk, exchanging memes and sending each other like links to like this funny video is not really a relationship. I can do that with anybody. Hell, I could do that with ChatGPT. So there's really very little value here. I haven't seen you in several years. I may not see you again ever, or may not see you in several years. So it's like, what is the actual incentive for me to do anything for you or for me to help you? It's actually like increasingly quite low. So maybe I just shouldn't do anything because maybe our relationship has run its course. Maybe our friendship has run its course. And so you want to prevent that, obviously. But also, here's another thing. Some of your relationships have run their course. Sometimes it might be your relationship with your actual family members. It could be your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin. Not your child, right? That'd be crazy. But the relationship has run its course. And you have to be wise enough to say, you know what? That's not even a good use of my time to send this person a Christmas card every year. I mean, like, why am I doing that? I've not seen this person in several years. I am not going to see them. And in fact, I don't want to see them. It's run its course. Time for me to step back. And the reason that you do that is not to be cruel, but rather to reallocate that capital. Time is a capital. Emotion is a capital. Care and concern is a capital. And to take inventory and say, okay, yeah, maybe I grew up with so-and-so, right? I know so-and-so from the soil. Like, we were in Section 8 housing together. You heard me? We was on food stamps together before they had the card. You heard me? When you walk into Food for Less with them colorful bills. You heard me? Yeah, way back then. We was in the trenches together. But now things are different. And we don't talk, and hell, we don't even have much in common at this point. So the real question is, who's my new set of friends? Who's my new best friend? Who are the people that I spend time with in real life? Who are the people who make an effort to see me? If there's someone you're always making the effort to see them, you're always inviting them out, they don't love you like that. And you guys often hear me talking about, romantic situations, where I'm sort of like, hey, bro, she ain't feeling you like that. Or hey, shorty, like, you ain't even like, they ain't into you like that. But now we're talking about friendships. And the truth is that they're not really your friend like that. Maybe they were. Maybe 10 years ago they were. Maybe 5 years ago they were. Maybe 20 years ago they were. But now they're not. And the question for you is, are you adjusting? And another thing that I emphasize to the people around me is we're above average people. Figuring it out ain't good enough. Figuring it out fast is the key. Figure it out fast, whatever it is. Figure it out fast. Knowing the right answer ain't good enough. Learn the right answer quickly. Adapting's not good enough. Adapt quickly. So the question is like, why in the heck are you holding on to a relationship? You got this orange. You done squeezed all the juice out of this bad boy 5 years ago, but you're acting like it's still 2015 and everything's not all good. They're not your friend anymore. It's run its course, and that's okay. You don't have to become their enemy, but it's run its course. And now that you have the data or you're realizing it, take action. And you're not taking action to be malicious. You're taking action so that the relationships you do have, you can double down on them. You can make them more fruitful. You can draw out more joy. You can make greater investment and pull out greater profits from it. Come on now. Because some of you are out here calling up the homie that you grew up with, and you talking to the homie, and then 3 minutes later, you didn't barely say, hey, bro, what it do, man? He'll be like, oh, man, it ain't nothing, man. But okay, bro, that's what's up. What's new with you, man? What's cracking? Oh, man, same old, same old. Hey, man, check this out, though, man. I'm about to head in the house right now, man. I'm going to get at you. And you over here like, well, damn, relative, I just got on the phone with you, relative. What? You probably ain't going to say that. You got too much pride, but you kind of like, damn, real, I just got on the phone with you. Like, you ain't even got 5 minutes for your boy? They don't, bro. And it's okay. It get like that. It get like that, man. So the question is, why would you be so fool to think that someone who doesn't spend time with you, doesn't hop on the horn with you, which frankly, I don't think that's a great use of time, mostly. Someone who is not trying to be involved in your growth. They don't even know what you're going toward. Someone who doesn't check on you. Why do you think this person is your friend just because you guys grew up together in the same apartment building or y'all went to elementary school together? Why do you think they're still your friend? They don't never pull up on you. Now, here's the kicker. You might meet somebody this week and they're a better friend to you than somebody you've known your whole life. And you have to make room for that. You have to make room for new things, for growth, for development. And if you're holding on to old things, you're not going to get any new things, new rewards, new opportunities. Huh? Come on now. Come on now. Yeah. And I can promise you, man, if you have friends and you ain't seen them in a while, there could be a number of reasons that that's the case. It could be because their old lady don't like you. Could be because one of their parents don't like you. Could be because they don't like you. It could be a number of reasons. But here's the good news. You don't need to figure that out. You just need to look at the data. The data indicates where we're at with things. You hear me? And if the data ain't looking good, make the change right now. And here's the thing. If you stop reaching out and you've been the main person reaching out and then they stop reaching out too, that lets you know everything you need to know. If you stop reaching out and then they reach out, hey, man, I ain't heard from you in a while, then maybe there's something there. But put things on a standard. The standard needs to be, hey, my friends, I see my friends at least once a quarter or once every 6 months. In real life. Put it on a standard. Everything you do, it needs to be on a standard, and it should probably be a high standard. How are you somebody's friend? You ain't seen them in years. That doesn't even make any sense. You're pen pals. Listen, I'm starting to look at things like, if the nature of the conversation I have with fill in the blank person, I could have had that conversation with a stranger, or I could have had that interaction with Chat GPT. They're not real to me anymore. Huh? Come on now. They're not real to me anymore. Huh? Yes. And also take your life seriously. There's some people you think they're your friend. They have a wedding. They don't even invite you to the wedding. You hear me? Hey, and sometimes, hey, maybe they had a limited guest list, whatever the case is. Me personally, I don't like going to weddings. They're boring and I don't drink alcohol. They kind of turn into like slosh fest. But no, it's one thing if they don't invite you because they know you don't want to be there. I mean, it is what it is. But use the data, ladies and saints. What I'm encouraging you to do, and this is crazy. Look at this. Bro writes, no time for friends. Sorry. You don't have to be sorry to me. You're going to be sorry to yourself because you don't understand life itself. That's why I'm here speaking, because so many people don't even know the purpose of life itself. You get tricked, male and female. You get tricked and you think your life is about work, work, work. Why? So I can make money. And maybe you become high income, but you still have to keep working. And you don't take enough time off to enjoy the money you've made. And you also aren't smart enough and strategic enough as a man, because a man is a planner, to organize your work so that even your work is joyous and joyful. I recently saw a news clipping about a young woman who was just weeks away from graduating law school, and then she ends up being victim of homicide. I thought that was quite a pity because law school is quite rigorous and unpleasant. And I am pretty sure that if I would have asked her while she was in law school, like, hey, you've been in law school for 2 years. What do you think? Are you enjoying yourself? She would probably say, no, I'm not enjoying myself, but it's an investment in my future. I'm hating every moment of it. But when I become a lawyer, then I'll be happy. Like, then I'll start living. Then I'll start hanging out with my friends. Then what's going to happen? She becomes an L1. She becomes a first year, in a law firm. And then I'll check back in with her like, hey, how's it going? Well, it's better than law school because I hated law school, but it's really busy and I'm just trying to earn my way up. There's always going to be a new story. Always going to be a new story. You're always going to have time to work, right? Yeah, you'll always have the opportunity to work, but a real man, a strategic and experienced man, a wise man, he finds a way to make joy of the work. And then when the work is finished, to enjoy joy without work. When I was a youngster, kind of like this young boy here, boy don't know anything, but he doesn't know he knows anything. He doesn't know anything, but he does not know that he doesn't know anything. And I understand that. We've all been there. But when I was a young boy, man, I was working so very hard and not even realizing that all of that work was not going to add up to happiness. And that if I was struck down, like say Kevin was, in the midst of doing all that work, and say, you get to the pearly gates, you get into heaven, and, heaven's just like jail, right? You come, they're like, what you in for? And you're like, oh man, I died doing X, Y, and Z. I died in a car accident. They're like, okay, well, what were you up to? Like, what was your life like before you died? And you're like, oh man, I was hustling hard, man. I was just working so hard. They're like, okay, well, what was fun in the last couple of years? You're like, bruh, nothing. I was just trying to get to the bag. I was getting to the bag. Well, did you have fun getting to the bag? Nah, man, I was grinding. And so they're like, damn, bro, like, so your last 3-4 years on earth, you were just not having any joy, no fun. You were just grinding and hustling, and then you died. So you never actually got to enjoy that which you were grinding and hustling for. So theoretically, your last 3-4 years of life had no meaning whatsoever. It was just suffering. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's stupid and terrible. It really is. Because once you understand life, that's why I say Marquettism is for the kids. Marquettism saves lives. Once you understand life, you realize this. What am I working for? I'm working for money. Why am I working for money? Well, I need to put a roof over my head and I need to be able to eat enough, which these are minimum amounts of, small amounts of money. Well, once I have a roof over my head and I have enough to eat, well, then what do I want? I want to have fun. I want to have joy. I want to, enjoy beautiful women. I want to have kids and see them run and frolic and have fun and skin their knee. And I want to be around my guys, my people. I want to box and, run under the sunshine. I want to enjoy people in life. Okay, well, do you have to be rich or have a bunch of money to run under the sunshine with your friends? Do you have to have that to box and spar with your friends? Do you have to have that to enjoy beautiful women? The answer is no. All of the things you're working to enjoy, you can enjoy without money. The only reasons you're not enjoying those things right now is because your life is not organized. Your life is not organized. Well, Marquette, what do you mean? So because the modern economy and the hells of North America has caused you, when you wanted to go to university, because they told you that was the thing that's going to, give you financial opportunity. So you went and did the dumb thing of getting a communications degree. So you didn't get accepted to, colleges nearby. You got accepted. So you live in Kansas, where all your family and friends are. You get accepted to a college in Boston. You fly way over to Boston. Then you make some friend groups and you enjoy university at some level. And then you apply for jobs and you get a job offer in Alabama. boom. You fly over to Alabama. Now you're again among strangers. You start making relationships with some of the people that you work with, but you're just there for the money. It's a job, right? So you're not really friends with these people. You're just trying to interact with them enough to be collegial. And so you've left your family and your childhood friends, and then you left your college friends, and now you're among strangers working to earn money in a city that you're not from, around people you don't know and you don't enjoy. And this is your life. And you're mostly isolated and lonely, and you experience small glimmers of connection through this metal device, which allows you to talk to, not really talk, but like text and message and send memes back and forth and send funny little videos back and forth to your would-be friends, your would-be family. But let's be honest here. We don't want to be honest because it's hard to deal with the truth, but your friends and your family are around you. They're the people around you who can do for you. They're the people around you who can strive with you. They're the people around you. You can enjoy their hug. You can enjoy their touch. They're the people around you. The people that are not around you that you're communicating with through, these remote communication technologies, you might as well just be talking to Chat GPT, partner. It's not a real relationship, and it's not really fulfilling either. And even after you finish chuckling over that funny video that they sent you, you're gonna be lonely after that. You're gonna be unfulfilled. You're gonna be feeling a little bit empty. And once I figured out what life is actually about and how to live life, I started organizing, designing my life to have high number of contact points and collisions with men I respect, men who make me want to achieve more, women that are honorable and honest and chaste, and they dress modestly and they don't display their bodies on Instagram. And it's so much more enriching. And all the people who don't fit into that beautiful painting, they are erased out of the painting. I don't care if we share blood. I don't care if we grew up together. I don't care how far back we go. If you're a degenerate, if you are dishonest, if you're a person who's up to no good and unproductive male, if you're a promiscuous female, you're gone. I don't care if we're related. I don't care about any of that, because when look at this person writes, making money is fun. But you don't have any money. I know you don't. This is the problem with people, is the mental illness, the delusion, the lies. Making money is fun. You don't have money because you already said you don't have free time. If you have money, then you have free time. You don't have any real money, or else you'd have free time. You don't even have control over your own schedule. You're struggling, but you won't admit it to yourself. And this is the era we live in. I try to tell people, is like, we're suffering as human beings because we won't be ourselves. We all want to be somebody else. No one wants to be themselves. You look on Instagram, and even if you're a mid-human, meaning you're mid, you're not special, you're just mid, you're an average, below average person, but you want to drive a Lamborghini. Why? That's not meant for you. There was a time, look at this liar. I got over 600K in my bank account, LOL. Just based on you writing LOL, you're lying. Grown men don't write LOL. They don't write LOL. And furthermore, people, in fact, do you want to come on this live stream? I'd love to have you. I'm going to drop the link for this young ball. I'd love to have you. We got to stop with the lies, man. It's the lies that eat us alive. Those lies are so dangerous. That's the link for this young ball who's lying. And I've said this many times. I want you guys to take this seriously. All virtue follows from honesty. All virtue follows from honesty. You have to start with the truth. And I'm not saying the truth will set you free. That's nonsense. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes the truth just makes you aware that you're within a cage. I'll be honest with you. Listen, if you're a woman and you had 7 kids with a man, and you might be like, I'm going to go find me another man. That's a lie. The truth is, you'd be best to, whoever got you pregnant 7 times, get with him. And if you don't like him, figure out how to like him. You're trapped. You're in a cage. That's the truth. The truth didn't set you free, but the truth did give you a realistic path. The truth did give you a way to try to be happy. Huh? Look at this animal. I be scamming, can't go live. No, you are a scam and you're blocked because you're a dirtbag. You're a dirtbag, buddy. You're a dirtbag. And I say that with love, and I hope that you can take that like, damn, the Saint called me a dirtbag. Yes, and I mean it. You're a dirtbag. But here's the kicker. You don't have to be a dirtbag. You can change that. That's optional. You don't have to be a dirtbag. You can read in my book, The Black Box, and you probably really need it. In this book, you can get it on Amazon.com. I took 10 years to write this book. There's a chapter in this book where I describe some things that had occurred, criminal activities, which is what I was raised on, to be honest with you. And I finally realized that I was a despicable character. I was despicable. I was disgusted with myself, with no one else. I was disgusted with me. Sometimes you have to realize that you're pathetic. And the best thing to do is to not lie and act like you're doing all right. No, you're pathetic. And you should change that. You heard me? Like, I don't lie. You know, people, I saw goofy black women on my comments on Instagram when I said the woman had a 3-story stomach. They're like, Marquett, you can't say that. No, I can. She has a 3-story stomach. Look at it. There's the bottom part resting right above the monk. Then there's the middle stomach. Then there's the upper stomach, which you might mistake for breasts, but those are not the breasts. The breasts are right above it, and they ain't even proper size. When your stomach that big, you really got to have some juggies on you, baby. Balance it out. But yeah, she had a 3-story stomach, and I'm not going to apologize at all. How about this? Make me a liar. Stop having a 3-story stomach. Then I won't say it. You hear me? Go get in good shape. Just like I will observe that you have a 3-story stomach, I will then observe that you have a nice flat stomach. And I don't even like a woman's stomach to be flat. You heard me? Give me a little bit of softness on it because it's a woman, not a man. Come on now. And by the way, to you goofy young black boys out there, stay away from me, man, or be a real man and be serious. There's one goofy rascal on my comments on Instagram. And it was a video of me taking a jog around my property. And he writes, this looked like a slave running away from his master's house. LOL. Again, with the LOL. Stupidity. And then I reply, you have the heart of a slave. You know, some black people, they do have the heart of a slave. They probably should be in slavery right now, to be honest with you. They have the heart of a slave. But don't project onto me. And I do have a chicken coop here that needs to be managed. If you want a job, I'll hire you, boy. I'll hire you, boy. And the reason that comment is so disgusting is because some people want to be a slave so badly. They like being a slave is who they really are. They're low people. So you see someone who is the master of his universe. You see someone who is the master of his land. And you're so attached to a false narrative because you're not a slave. No one's a slave in 2025. But that's the thing that goes into his mind because his mind is so crippled. And some of these black folks, you know, people don't say the N-word, but some of them are the hard ER. You dig? Yeah, they the hard ER. And me personally, I wish we could take them out. I really do, because they degrade me by wearing my skin. They really do. So I don't want them around me. And I also don't want to hear people like, that's what Nick Fuentes is saying. That's what Charlie Kirk was saying. No, that's not what Charlie Kirk was saying. That's not what Nick Fuentes was saying. Nick Fuentes is a racist, as was Charlie Kirk. And what you guys try to do is you try to interpret what they're saying. No, don't interpret. And don't lie. Just be honest. I'm speaking about a people whom I help on a regular basis. And when I see them underperforming and misrepresenting me, I'm displeased. You have a Nick Fuentes and a Charlie Kirk who are outright racist, who are obsessed with the black peoples of America, and it's due to their hatred. And it's plainly simple. And I also want to state that sometimes people be like, I thought you were smart, but you're not smart. It'll be based on one thing. They disagree with me on one thing. You're not as smart as I thought you were. Now, mind you, nigga work at CVS. You heard me? Nigga work at CVS graveyard shift. And he telling me I'm dumb. I'm like, God damn, this is crazy. But again, it's the lies. Like so many people are nourished by lies. Come on now. So many of them are nourished by lies. You see, if they dealt with the truth, ooh, that'd be dangerous. Oh, yeah. By the way, shout out to Mr. Naeem, who just got Boss University, and drop the link to Boss University. Boss University will get you on the right mentality so you can really get somewhere in life. Mr. Naeem comes in via Venmo. He writes, true to my word, I bought Boss University earlier tonight. Looking forward to delving into it after this live session. As for this topic, we're definitely in the right place for strengthening our circle of friends. Peace of saints. Oh, absolutely. And you know what? It's not by accident. What you seek is seeking you. Shout out to my good friend Jamshi, whom I went to university with, by the way. He writes, I remember back at university, you told me to be careful who you call friends. When I told you a story about my high school friend, that was a key lesson. Bro, I'm trying to tell you. And shout out to Jamshi, a good brother. And it's so good to still be in contact with people over such a long period. And that's how you know it's real. That's how you know you're dealing with honorable people. And the funny thing, guys like Jamshi, I've never one time had a disagreement with ever for any reason. Why? We're the same kind of person. Values. Shout out to Omari. He writes, Peace of Saints from Sasson, Texas. Shout out to Quat for the running shoes. I got a pair too. Shout out to my boy Quat. And being patient with me and getting the right size. Yes, indeed. I hear that. And you know, those damn running shoes, man, they still look new. That's the neat thing. And I always use them for trail running. So they look perfectly new. You're not going to get the kind of wear you'd see if you're running on cement and things like that. And one thing I like about those shoes is because they're zero drop shoes, they're kind of like barefoot running shoes. You get to actually feel the earth when you're running, and your foot actually becomes stronger. Anyways, Alfred, I would ask that you use proper English in the chat. There's a lot of people international. It'd be easier for them to understand, and you'll represent yourself better. Colloquialism and slang is better for speaking. It's a speech culture thing. It's not supposed to be written. Shout out to Aaron supporting the work. He used the Stripe link below. I appreciate you. I also acknowledge Mr. Farrell supporting the work. Shout out to the real ones. Oh, and also, if you've not joined and you want to become a part of this thing of ours, this is a smart time to do it. Because it's before the first. On the first of the month is when we have new member orientation, and that's what you will go to get the Discord link and really become a part of this thing of ours, be able to meet up in person with the different sections. Danny came in via Venmo. He writes, Peace of the Saints. I agree with you on this. I be grinding super hard. I forget about my friends and family. My old friend killed his mom not too long ago. That's different. I feel like I could have saved him. He reached out for help. I was too busy. Hey, listen, man, you're not Superman. So, you know, sometimes it is, as the blacks say, it is what it is. But we don't want to lose sight of joy. We do want to work hard. And I will tell you, even in Boss University, I'll tell you, because when people ask me things like, well, what about your girlfriend? What about your friends? What about your family? Listen, when you're hustling, F them all. But here's the thing. At some point, you're going to need a recharge. You're going to need some rest. You're going to need some entertainment. That's when you pick it back up. The problem is we forget to pick it back up in a serious way. You see, what I learned is to be very serious about my work and also be very serious about my joy. You know, if a young lady's around me and I'm going to have a meal, I always tell her, hey, like if I'm going to have a meal, I need something entertaining to watch. Make sure you got 3 options for me. You hear me? I want to enjoy this meal. I want to enjoy this meal, enjoy something entertaining to watch. I want to laugh. I want to feel some emotions, and, you know, and then I got to get back to work. I got to milk the most out of this experience while I'm not working. And the way I manage my, day to day is what I'll do is I'll always prioritize work because I enjoy work. I'll start with the work really hard until I'm tired of working, or until mostly I can't work anymore. I don't know if y'all ever been to that point where you work and work and work, and then you just like, I ain't got nothing else in me. I can't focus. I can't write another page. I can't email another person. I can't take another meeting. And that's when you tell your old lady, come on over here. You want to cuddle? Come on. I can't even move right now. Go ahead, cuddle me up. I'm here for it. So that's what I do is I'll work. And then when the train can't move anymore, then I'll engage in social time and joy and all of these things. So nothing wrong with hustling, but let's not lie and act like, I worked 30 hours and then I slept for 2 hours. I woke up and worked another 30 hours and I slept for 2 hours. And it's like, bro, knock it off, man. I can tell you the time that I've been most productive is when I'm happy. Like happiness is the greatest fuel. I talk about these kind of things in Boston University. There's actually an infographic that I utilize in Boston University to teach you how to be most productive. The young boy who was on here earlier, like, I love working. Work is everything. I don't have any friends. I don't like friends. Work, work, work. And then I was like, okay, well, come on, let's have a conversation about it. Oh, I can't come online. Because these are the weirdos, man. These are the people who they lie to themselves, like, because they can't manage friendships, because they lack social skills, they lack cognizance, they lack a lot of things. They'll lie and say, I don't want friends. It's not that you don't want friends. You can't get friends. You don't have the proper social skills. You're inept socially. So you got to want to grow. You have to want to improve.
Yo, I wasn't gonna come on here, but you blocked me, bro, and I be watching your shit. So I was like, nah, it's fucked up. But
Well, let me
yeah, bro,
ask
I
you
got
this.
a lot of.
Wait, hold on one second. Hold on one second. And if you wouldn't, are you able to mute whatever that is in the background and still hear me?
I don't have anything playing.
Okay, that's fine, because I can hear an echo, but that's okay. So I realize that people get raised in different ways, but I'm not your bro. We don't have the same parents. I'm significantly older than you. You don't speak to me like I'm your buddy. Does that make sense?
It's just kind of like I'm from Texas, so that's kind of how we talk. So
no, that's not how you talk, because I was just in Texas 2 weeks ago. So you're lying. I've probably been to more places in Texas than you. It's not how we talk. It's how you talk when you're lower class. And I'm just advising you as a more mature person. And you're resisting it because your father hasn't taken out the time to give you discipline. Like when you look at me,
me and my father have a great relationship, bro.
But your father hasn't taught you anything, because your father would teach you don't address grown men as bro. I'm not your bro. You're a young man.
All right, just being casual, just having casual talk. But
why would you have casual talk? Do I look casual to you?
I mean, you have a hat on. Is that a hat on backwards? I don't know what you look. You look like you're just chilling. I just feel like
I'm
we're
asking
just having
you.
a cool conversation.
I'm in a $5,000 chair in front of a chimney, wearing a gold on gold watch with a dress shirt that's custom made and a pair of spectacles. Do I look casual to you?
Yeah, you kind of do. I mean, you just look like a casual person.
Here's the problem. You have modest IQ, which is okay. You don't have to be highly intelligent to speak with respect. So what I'm telling you is, if your father taught you something, he taught you wrong. And it's okay. Right. When you speak to a stranger, you speak to them with respect, especially when they're calm enough to advise you and say, hey, man, don't talk to me like that. I'm not your buddy. Because here's the kicker. You're a young man. I wouldn't even talk to you casually because I don't know you like that. I'm going to talk to you with respect. And the reason I talk to you with respect is because I'm assuming that you deserve it. But more important than that, I want my respect. So I'm going to talk to you with respect so you can give it back to me.
Where I come respectful. I didn't mean any disrespect by saying bro, but yeah, that's just
okay. Well, if you didn't mean any disrespect, you also started with 2 curse words. So you call me bro, and then you have 2 curse words. Why are we cursing in this conversation?
Curse words? What did I say? What curse words did I say?
This is really important. I always tell people to be a hearer. You're not even listening to yourself. Does anyone in the chat want to let him know?
Please, chat. Let me know.
Did you say the F word? Did you say SHIT? Have you said any curse words? You don't remember any of that?
Chat, did I cuss, chat? Come on now. But either way.
Okay, you did. And so what I want you to know, you're not even listening to yourself. How could I ever expect you to even have a conversation with me? You don't listen to yourself. You can never listen to me. There's the chat.
I'm listening to you.
They said yes. Yes.
All right. Y'all got me. All right.
You said I F with your ish. That's one sentence, 2 curse words.
That's my fault. I didn't even realize that. You're right. I need to work on that.
But real quick, young man, the reason that you don't realize that is because you're living in a low way, and it becomes invisible, the low things that you're thinking and saying. Like, you're better than this. Facts. I don't even know you, and I know you're better than this.
You're right. I need to work on like my speech and how I come off, and representing myself better. I agree. What was I gonna say though? The chat was calling me out for having 600K in my bank though. No, I got a lot of money, guys. I do advertisements for company using AI, and I also have done some things in the past that I no longer do that have made me a lot of money, and I now use that in my savings account. I have 4.5% APR in my savings, which makes me about 2,500 each month, which I just sit on. I really don't even have to really do much. I have a house by myself. I'm 26. I'm actually a quadriplegic. I got a spinal cord injury playing football when I was 15. So, I've been through a lot. And I
Are you
just,
really
I'm a grinder.
quadriplegic?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
You see that
wow.
in the
Okay.
Yeah, you see that? That's a rail system. Like my whole house is like accessible. I got it all souped up, you know, and everything like
Okay. Well,
that.
you seem to
So
be in good spirits. I like to see that.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
But
very good. And I
can you
appreciate you
unblock
coming
me,
on.
bro? Can you unblock me now? Because I mean, I feel like I came on here
Call me
as a
bro
man.
again. That's crazy. So here's the
How?
challenge.
Marquette, right? Marquette.
When you ask me to unblock you, and this is really important, I hope you remember this for the rest of your life. You're asking me to do something for you. Okay. So one thing we have to realize on the planet Earth is that generally no one cares about you. Like that's one thing I grew up
Facts.
like I knew that very clearly, like no one cares about you. So let me ask you a question. Have I ever done anything for you? Have you ever gotten any value from me in your life?
I watched you on Fresh and Fit. I fuck with Fresh and Fit. Oh, I
Oh,
cussed again.
Jesus
Sorry,
Christ.
chat. I love Fresh and Fit.
Okay.
What's your name?
I don't even have the patience for the conversation. He didn't run. I pulled him out because I don't have the patience for the conversation. Okay, I'm just going to wrap up this conversation as a monologue, if you don't mind, ladies and saints. What I was going to explain to the young man is that number one, no one cares about you. So you're asking me to unblock you, which can be done. It is possible. But the truth of the matter is, for me to unblock you, that would require me to get the URL for your YouTube account. Then I would have to go into the settings of my YouTube account. And then I would have to find the place where it has blocked users. And I wouldn't be able to find you because there's so many blocked users. And I would have to basically add you as like a protected user or like a special user. And that would take maybe about 4 minutes minimum of my time. And the real question is like, well, what do I benefit from doing all of that? Like, what's the benefit to me to do you that favor? There's no benefit whatsoever. I don't know you. You're a stranger. You've never done one thing for me in your entire life. I've given you value. I've helped you. I've given you knowledge. You've given me nothing back except disrespect, vulgarity. And then you expect me to take out my time to do you a favor for no reason and no payoff? I don't even know you. So why would I do that? Is what I was trying to explain to the kid. But again, he was just too vulgar for us to even have the conversation. But here's the thing, and I want you guys all to know, we might talk here on the internet, in this entertainment space, but I don't view these people as equals because we never talk in real life. Like our lives are so radically different. We never cross paths in real life. We don't eat at the same restaurants. We don't go to the same countries. We don't go to the same dealerships. We don't do anything the same. I would never engage with you. We're not the same kind of people. So why would I want to bring you around me online? Like, it's just, and again, I want you guys to understand this, that there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, that person, place, position, that's not for me. That's not for me. There's nothing wrong with that. It's self-respect. I respect myself too much to be around vulgar people. He writes, seems like he's doing fine. Why does he care about being blocked? Well, it's because this community offers a significant value. And one thing I can tell you, we've only excommunicated 3 people in the history of the Assassin. And every single time they ask to come back. That's because we're providing a unique value add to people. There's nowhere else, especially as an adult, that you can find an honest group of people who come together for health, wealth, relationships, positive ends, who truly support each other in honesty, and they don't want anything from you. It's not some religious group that's like, oh, you have to give over your life to Allah or Jesus. You got to praise God, or you got to pass around the collection plate. We don't want anything from you except for you to be your best and for us to have fun and enjoy life together. There's nothing else like this. There's other internet groups that try to emulate what we do, but they're hollow. They're hollow. They don't mean anything because there's no ideology, there's no values behind it. So when people get kicked out of this, then they all of a sudden they realize the value. But then it's too late. It's too late then. You hear me? It's too late. And that, just like I was speaking of earlier, it's like, yeah, figuring out the answer is good, but figuring out the answer fast is better. Shout out to Gear, just became a member at patreon.com/the Saint and the Sinner. Also acknowledge Assad, who just supported the work using the link below in the description. Shout out to those folks. It's very easy to use a Stripe link. I think that's why a lot of folks are opting to use it. Appreciate you. Much respect. Shout out to Philip, came in via Venmo. He writes, people don't value friendship these days. I've always felt that friends were an important part of a man's life and a woman. They're important part of a man's life, up there with career and family. I find the trend of devaluing it to be truly sad. Oh, well, here's the kicker, Philip. Not only are friendships being devalued, but in addition, everything is being devalued. Marriage, children, all of it's being devalued. Shout out to Christian. Just came in supporting the work using the Stripe link in the description. As I said, very easy way to support. Shout out to Colorway. He writes, peace of the Saints. Did you receive your LED running belt by any chance? I'd love some brief feedback. Absolutely, I did receive it, and I use it almost every day. So I appreciate that. My brief feedback is that you have an extra strap to maybe expand the width of the belt. I think it'd be more clever just to have it as a main part of it, as opposed to an attachment. And one thing I really like about it is that it's easy to put the cell phone in and out of the pocket because it doesn't zip close. It's not necessary. And that was really clever design, that you can just put it into the pocket and it kind of folds over without being zip closed. So it's easy to pull in and out without having to zip. I really like that. That's a great design feature. And I've never used the light aspect because I'm usually running in the early morning hours when the sun is out, and I'm also running on my own property. So that just is not of utility currently. But I think it's a neat product. I just despise the fact that you have to attach that extra like belt thing. I think just making it a little longer, one piece would be much better. But I think it's a good product. It's pretty cool. So yeah, shout out to you. And thank you for that. Appreciate you. Carrying on. Oh yeah, and with the young man who just came on, my heart goes out to him, but also my heart is not what's going to heal him. And some folks are too far gone. You get good at what you practice. You do. And he has practiced cursing and being vulgar so much that it is second nature. And I always tell you guys, be a hearer. And the young man is not even a hearer of himself. He can't even listen to himself. And it's so sad because there's no chance he could listen to his wife, his kid, or anyone else. He's too self-absorbed. And he lacks social skills. And this is not a new thing. You got kids who went to school during COVID and, they didn't get a chance to be socialized. You got kids who grow up on online schooling. And, it's sad to see that humankind is degrading and devolving and becoming so worthless. Like the young man, frankly, I just don't see him as a very valuable human being. And I know you guys are probably like, dang, did you just say that? Yeah, I did say that. And it's important that we start saying that, because unless we acknowledge the reality of things, we cannot begin to rebuild. We have to rebuild what it is to be a man, what it is to be a human being. Because he reminded me of a robot, a computer program. Programs are repetitive and they are predictable. And he was very predictable. Bro. F this, SHIT that, bro. And he was a me monster. It's all about me. Unblock me. Do this for me. Let me tell you about me. It's like he's a clone. Like he's not even like a real human. He's just like a clone of 100 million other kids who were raised by an iPad. And, that's unfortunate. And I want to be honest with you. Those are not people I'm investing my time in. I'm investing my time in the people who want to be helped and the people who are a blank slate enough to be helped. And he is not one of them. And one thing I want to tell you all is that the truth is not everyone will be saved. I mean, just imagine Jesus had 12 disciples. 12. He had 12 disciples. That means a multitude heard the message and they're like, nah, I'm good. What this nigga talking about? I'm good. So if Jesus had 12 disciples, I don't expect that everyone's going to hear the message and say, that makes sense. I'm going to follow that. The chances of that are nil, that there will be a large number of people who realize what is right. So we're just dealing with the people who are righteous. We're dealing with the people who are wise. We're dealing with the people who are open. And at best, we can thank him for being an example of what not to be, what not to raise your kid to be, being an example of clinical immaturity. I can tell you that I don't think I was like a terribly impressive kid in some regards, but I'm sure that at age like maybe like the third grade, I have more maturity than this kid. I think he said he was 26 or 27, which is extraordinary, because when I was in the third grade, I had more presence of mind, more civility, more calmness, more thoughtfulness than this 26-year-old man. When I was in the third grade, I had more. I'm sure of it. Now, granted, some of that is upbringing. And I realize that. And that's why I tried to explain to the young man at the beginning of the conversation. So check that, bro said, Jesus gave sinners a chance. Exactly, nigga. I'm not Jesus. I'm the saint and the sinner. I'm not Jesus. I'm not giving any of these people a chance. They're done. I don't want to deal with them. Let Jesus save them. You hear me? Let welfare feed them. Not me. Absolutely not. So I'm not Jesus. And I also think that that is a bad model. I think it's a terrible model. And most of the people who talk the Jesus talk, they're really not about helping people. And they also don't understand the Bible. They don't realize that the Bible, how many of those books were written by Jesus? None. Those books were a collection of letters and, things that were way after Jesus's time, smashed together. Some parts were left out, some were included. And it's really just sad to see in 2025, you still have people believing in mysticism and wizardry and zombies and, things that just are clearly ridiculous. Just imagine, honestly, just think about it. How is it that today you still have the same beliefs as people who lived 500 years ago? It's like you've not learned anything. Humanity has not advanced. And what is consistent is that there's a triangle to human beings. There's the people at the top, the people in the middle, and the people at the bottom. And based on these, the foolishness you speak, I could tell that you're kind of at the bottom. And the bottom is the big part of the triangle. So in full disclosure, I was raised Southern Baptist. I have respect for all of the religions, all of the peoples of the book. But at some level, you have to acknowledge that, some of this stuff is nonsensical. And you have to also ask yourself, well, how is it that if you're Catholic, Benito Mussolini had a deal with the Catholic Church, a concordat is what they called it. Where did the Catholic Church get that land that the Catholic Church is on, that the Vatican is on, Vatican City? Where'd that land come from? How'd they get that? Then if you look at the Protestants and you look at the evangelical church in Germany, they had something called the Reich Concordat, which is an agreement with the Nazis. Come on now. Let's talk about it. So what I'm telling you is that you may hold these religions to be dear. And I'm not going to talk about the people who cannot be talked about, but you look at all of these religions and you try to add up the goodness, and sometimes the math ain't mathing. So I challenge men who are rational to say, well, why is it that I still believe in things that people believed in 500 years ago? Now, remember, the church, they were against the idea that the sun is the center of the universe. They used to kill people for saying that the earth was not the center of the universe. They used to kill people. And then they realized, oh, the sun is the center of the universe. Science has proven it. but they carried on with their religion. So how could they be so wrong about something so fundamental, but everything else that they believe is correct, right? Jesus and God and the creation in the 7 days and all that's correct. But they didn't know that the sun is the center of the universe, which seems very fundamental. So I say all that to say, it saddens me when I see people that are so lost and they use religion for the most filthy, wicked justifications. There's a hijabi, a Jordanian woman reached out to me recently, and she says, "Hey, Marquett, I'm very interested in you." I had encountered her in a trip I had taken some time. I was like, "Hey, I'm interested in you. I know you're a serious man. I would like to basically offer myself for marriage." And I said, "No, I'm good." Not like that. I didn't say it like that. I said like nicer. And she said, well, why is that? I said, because you think that the man and the woman are equal, and I don't agree. So we'll never have peaceful relations, because I truly believe that there has to be a leader. There must be hierarchy in all things. That's what makes things flow smoothly. Just like a business, a corporation, you don't find any corporations there's 2 CEOs. There's always a hierarchy. And you believe men and women are equal. And that's what you believe when I met you. I don't think that that has changed. And so I'm not interested. And then she says, well, I'm beautiful and I have so many people interested in me. I said, well, go find one. Leave me alone. Go find one. Then she says to me, now, mind you, she won't give up, right? I told her I'm not interested. She keeps going. Marquett, you don't understand Islam. I said, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with anybody. I said, that's fine. Okay. All right, cool. You have a great understanding of Islam. Use that understanding. Go find a guy who will, think that you're his equal. And then she says, see, you don't understand Islam. And I say that to say this to you. She's going to bend Islam. She's going to bend it to support her true values and her true beliefs. She's going to bend it. Just like the Ku Klux Klan is a Christian organization. The church, the Christian churches supported Benito Mussolini, dictator. They supported Adolf Hitler, dictator. Come on. So religion is being bent by these people, and religion is bending over and, taking it up the backside, no Vaseline. I just find it silly. Like, to me, the quickest way to know that a man is irrational and foolish is when he starts talking about Jesus, like, straight away. I'm like, okay, this guy's an idiot. And I treat them nicely, but I stay away from them, especially the black ones. I really stay away from, because we have mentally ill people, and I'll tell you why. The black ones are not even smart enough, like the black Christians, they're not even smart enough to realize that God must be racist, right? Because it was when you, like, if we just roll back through the American history, like who started America? It was religious Europeans, religious zealots who were seeking religious freedom. That's the story. The guy on the Quaker box. And they came to America for religious freedom, to escape persecution so they could practice their religion. And then so they start practicing their religion, and practicing their religion, worshiping their God, led to you being enslaved, and it also led to the Native Americans being murdered by the millions. So God apparently is racist. You heard me like that. At least the Christian God is. And, we can talk about enslavement that occurred under the Arabs as well. But the fact of the matter is, a quick way for me to tell if someone's an idiot is when they come at me with the Yeshua and all that other stuff. Because the blacks who adopt the Christianity, or they claim that they're Hebrews, it's like, you think you're clever, but I just look at you as black women when you're like, oh, you're a feminist. And she's like, no, I'm not a feminist. I'm an intersectional feminist. I'm like, so a feminist? No, I'm an intersexual feminist. Or intersectional. I forget what they call it. Some nonsense. I was like, yeah, a feminist. They're like, no, it's intersectional. That means it looks at the intersection of race and gender. So I'm not just like a feminist like the white women. I'm intersectional. I consider race and gender together. I was like, but You're a feminist, right? Yes, but I'm an intersectional feminist. I'm like, okay, you're feminism, right? Where'd you learn about that? Like, who were the like foundational feminists, like white women, right? This is where you learn this liberal education in university. Your four your foremothers, your ideological foremothers are white women. Your liberal white woman is your ideology, and you're adding a word that does not negate the fact that your foundational ideas come from the experiences and the ideas of liberal white women, which is fine, but don't lie about it. You're a feminist, and you don't need to add another word because it's still the same thing. Then the same thing is with the Hebrew Israelites, and then the black people who are like, Christianity started in Ethiopia. Okay, bro, that's cool. Or like, we're the true Hebrews. Okay, so listen, you're reading the Bible in English. You're the Hebrews, but you haven't taken out the time to learn Hebrew. And all you're really doing is you're just a Negropean. You're just taking the stuff that the Europeans had, and then you're just like painting it black. Well, we're painting it back black. Jesus was black, so they painted on white. We're painting on back black. That's cool, man. But at the end of the day, you're just doing the same thing that they did. You're taking their religion and like, but Christianity started in Ethiopia. Well, here's the funny thing. I've been to Ethiopia 7 times. How many times have you been? Oh, okay. None, never. Okay, great. You know what's funny about Ethiopia? It is a true story because I've been there many times. And somebody dropped my IG so people can see that I'm really telling the truth out here. When you go through Ethiopia, many of the religious institutions and the people of Ethiopia, you get into a taxi, they're very religious people, Ethiopian Orthodox Christians. And they'll have a lot of pictures of Jesus. And I'd say probably about 90% of those pictures are white Jesus. Now imagine you're in Africa. Africa. And they have pictures of white Jesus. So it's like, come on, man. I don't care if it did start in Ethiopia. If it's white Jesus, then it's white supremacy. It's European stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're white or you're a white supremacist. Nothing wrong with it. But if you're a black person, I just look at you as an idiot. Frankly, respectfully. I guess I'm just in a mood today. I'm sorry. I know I'm too honest and it's not popular to tell the truth. I got to stop doing that because, they say if you're not judgmental, you're not judgy, people will like you. So I got to stop being judgy, which I just mean like really honest because people hate, man, they hate the truth. They hate honesty. So like, that's kind of my issue is that I tend to tell the truth. I'm trying to stop. I want to throw one more thing out there. You guys sometimes wonder, like, well, why do the politicians always lie? It's because you guys hate the truth. That's why they lie, because you hate the truth. You see? So they lie to you because you want to be lied to. My challenge is that I don't like lying. So I'm trying to improve my lying skills so that I can exist out here because it's very difficult to deal in the truth. That's kind of the whole thing with Jesus. He start telling too much truth, they string him up and crucify him, So that's the thing. That's the thing. What can you do? And the blacks, it's very easy for them to go to the religious thing because that's kind of, it doesn't have any requirements. Like you don't have to have significant education. You don't have to be wealthy, which I think is weird. I think that if God is real and your God is real, your God should bless you. Like, why you look like you're cursed out here? You hear me? Why are you looking like you're cursed? Talking about you're blessed. It's nonsense. Shout to B Post supporting the work using the Stripe link below. And I know sometimes it's very hard for you guys to deal with what I'm saying because I'm introducing new ideas. And to assimilate new information can be very difficult. And some people might say, are you an atheist? No, I'm not an atheist. I just don't get into all of this nonsense. I get into the basics of health, wealth, relationships, and goodness. Like let's be good, honorable, upright people. Let's do the right thing. Let's discover the God in one another. I don't play with all the silly stories and stuff that you can't prove. And like religious people are utterly ridiculous, to be honest with you. I guess I'm turned up right now. Like, for example, if you say you take the Quran as a book of God, the word of God, right? Then the Muslims, they have something called hadith, which is like the recordings about the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? Like, so that you can follow the sunnah. So like you can do what Muhammad does. His companions wrote about what he said and what he did. And we call this volume the hadith. Okay. So I say, okay, well, I only follow the Quran because the Quran is the word of God. The Hadith is the word of man. Like you guys admit that it came from man, whereas the Quran, you say that came from the angel Jibreel, and there's this experience, and like God was speaking to the Prophet Muhammad, and he made him recite, and this volume is the Quran. But then the Hadith is just what niggas said. You heard me? Like some niggas that was supposedly watching him said, oh, Muhammad ate like this. He wore these clothes. He looked like this. He said this about women. Okay, cool. Great. So I say, well, I don't believe in Hadith because it's man's word. And then what do these dumb religious people say? I shouldn't say dumb. They're not all dumb. They're irrational. That's the correct word. They're irrational. They're not men. You can't be a man if you're irrational. They'll say, oh, well, Marquett, man, like, it's the Quran says follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad. The Hadith is the example. The Quran tells you to follow the example. Well, if God is all knowing, why didn't he just add a document of the example in the Quran? Like, why didn't he just make it a part of the Quran given straight from God? Why not? There's a million questions we can ask. The problem is that religious people, you can't debate them because they're irrational and frankly, they're mentally ill. Like, I know I'm wilding today. I'm wilding. I'm sorry. I'm wilding. No, I'm just doing too much right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm doing too much. I'm wilding. Anyways, there's a psychopath in the audience. I think I'd like to engage him. I'm kind of in the mood. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think someone had said, do you believe in Jesus or something like that? Where was that message? Did he disappear? Okay. So this person writes, this person's name is Mr. Steal Your Wi-Fi. Okay, so this is clearly an honorable person. They misspell my name, so this is clearly a detail-oriented, intelligent person. Marquette, you don't believe in the Holy Bible? And they didn't even formulate the question correctly. I'd love to answer your question, my dear boy. I'm going to drop the link for you to come on and have a meaningful conversation because you seem like you're at the intellectual level that will provide us for much edification. Much edification. There we go. Okay, so we have this person has no photo. Their name is Egypt, and they write atheists are mentally ill. They are narcissistic. Very good. No disagreements there. But if you'd like to come on and discuss it, please also, I would encourage you to hit that link. I would be more than happy to have that conversation with you. Nah, bro, we got to get to these lies, my boy. I got to get my lie game improved. I need to get in my lie bag. You hear me? Are any of the religious people who are empowered through God, are they going to come on? Because I would like to have a conversation. I'm kind of in the mood, unfortunately. Shout out to Carter writes, peace of the saints. I will continue to support. I appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. I also acknowledge Ahmad. I think I might have heard somebody come on. Let's see. Nope. Okay. False alarm. He writes, I'm beginning my financial freedom journey. How much do I need to save to make my first investment? And what are the most lucrative beginning investments? Bruh, I can tell you at the beginning because this is a curious question, but it's a good question. You're heading in the right direction. And, the neat thing is that, by the way, for the person who just joined on, you need to turn on your camera, man. Like if you're just sitting there in a pitch black room like a weirdo, I'm not letting you on. Don't be a weirdo. Try to pretend to be normal. Like pretend. Come on, man. Anyways, to the young man's question. He writes, I'm beginning my financial freedom journey. Interesting. How much do I need to save? Well, how much for what? Like, what's your goal, right? Like if your goal is to be a multi-millionaire, then there's a certain amount of money, right? If your goal is to be middle class, there's a certain amount of money. If your goal is to live in the woods, precision, specificity, defining your outcome is really important. Were you one of the two individuals that I invited on?
No, I was the one who just sent in that Venmo.
The one that I just read?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. What's on your mind, boss?
So I want to be specific. Like when I say at the beginning, I mean like at the very beginning, come from a low income environment. Mm-hmm. I watch a lot of videos and study a lot of stuff about entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. I'm into making music and like music engineering. I got a computer science degree. I'm kind of everywhere right now. But
you said you have a computer science degree, or you want a computer science degree?
I have a computer science degree.
computer science and electrical engineering? Like, what did your degree teach you to do?
It was all just like general software based. Like I just learned a whole bunch of different, like I learned C++, I learned Java, I learned Python. I just learned a whole bunch of different languages. So
Okay, very good. So let me ask you this. What do you believe you can do based on this foundation that you have in computer science? What can you do?
I mean, the easiest path would be to become a software engineer, but to be honest, that's not really the path I feel like I'm called to be.
Okay. All right. We might come back to that. So, okay, what are you called to do?
I believe I'm called to be an artist and make music and be in the, like, not entertainment realm, but music realm in some type of way. Because I believe I'm very articulate and like I got a message I want to get across.
Okay.
Where that comes from my community.
Sure. So, number one, there's some things that are long shots, right? Like maybe being in the NBA, being a famous actor, being a famous rapper. They're long shots, but it's not impossible, right? Somebody's got to do it, right? Someone has to be the famous rapper, actor, and what have you. So it is possible. Increasingly, it's probably not profitable and more difficult in as much as you're competing with all of the human beings that everyone else has always competed with, and you're also competing with AI. Are you aware that there are softwares that can take my voice and it can make me sing?
No, for sure.
Yes. So it's just very difficult to carve out value. And also the business model in the entertainment industry has changed significantly. You even hear a lot of the old heads talking about how they used to make decent money selling CDs out of the trunk of their car. And now they're on a streaming service. They'll do 1 million streams and make $4,000. Now, most of us are not going to do 1 million streams, but they'll do 1 million and make $4,000. But that's not 1 million streams in a month, right? That's 1 million streams in a year. And so the question really is like, well, is the business model there?
Sorry to interrupt you. I can say that that's inaccurate because I really am not touching 1 million nowhere near, and I'm not going to say the exact amount, but I get a decent amount. It's not a livable wage, but enough.
Okay, well, let's look at the data. Let's look at the data. So how much do you think would be a livable wage?
To make off of music? If I was making at least $30,000 a year off music, that's livable.
A year?
Yeah, that's like minimum. Like,
okay, real quick. All right, real quick. Like what would be a good outcome for you
in terms of what? Like, what are you asking me?
Like financially, if you're like, hey, Marquett, I want to make this amount of money per annum, or I want this lifestyle. This is what would make me happy in the near term.
My life, just like in the grand scheme of things. Or are you asking like next year what amount?
Yeah, let's say next year.
Next year, I'll feel like I'll be making progress if I made 100,000, and if I was, yeah.
Cool. All right, so let's do some math here. All right, just do some simple math. So if you made $100,000, top line next year. So I'm just queuing up 100K in my calculator, and I'm dividing that by 12 months. That means that you would make approximately, we'll just round it against your favor, you make $8,400 a month, right? Okay. So just remember that number. You need to make $8,400 per month. Okay, very good. Now I'm just going to pull up another browser here to do a little quick search. So I'm just going to type in how many streams do you need on Spotify to make, and I'm just going to put in 10,000 because it's a round number, more likely that someone may have written an article and used that figure. Okay. So, and I'm going to share this tab with you just so that no one thinks that I'm making up things, because we can all say that's not true or this is not true. And this still could be false, but let's just take a look if you don't mind. So here we are. It says to earn $10,000 on Spotify, you need approximately 2 to 3.3 million streams, depending on the average payout rate of 0.003 or 0.005 per stream. Okay. The actual amount you receive per stream varies based on factors like blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. So you would need 10,000, you need 2 to 3.3 million streams. And we'll just say 2.5 million, if you don't mind. We'll just take that as a round figure and say, oh, where'd my guy go? Did he drop off? Oh, that's a pity. Looks like he dropped off. Okay, well, we'll save time then. But what I was going to tell you guys is that he would need 2.5 million streams, approximately ballpark figure, per month, every month, to maintain that. And the idea that you're producing music that's getting 2.5 million streams every month coming from square zero, and you're probably going to need some help. You're going to need some marketing budget. You might be with a label. You might hire people. So presumably you have to pay these people. So 2.5 million streams might need to be maybe like 4 million streams so you could pay the people who helped you get the exposure that allowed you to get the streams. The numbers just don't work out very well. The music business is a horrible business. That's why they give the 360 deals. That's why historically you hear such bad things about music contracts. They're horrible. I would advise everyone watching right now, and I've said this many times in the past, especially to the colored people, do not become an artist. Become a businessman. Artists always end up broke. Being an artist, like having an artist mentality, it's a mentality of imprecision. It's a mentality of fuzziness. Be a business person, be numbers oriented, speak in numbers, speak with precision. Be a business person. Like, I'd rather be the guy who pays Drake than be Drake. I'd rather be the guy who owns the NBA than to play in the NBA. I'd rather own the team than play for the Clippers. Don't be the artist. Don't be the workhorse. Be the businessman. Be the owner. It's a different level of income. It's a different level of brains. And here's the kicker. It might sound strange, but it's actually, this is good. And somebody clip this and send this to me if you'd be so kind. Here's the funny thing. It's actually probably a lot easier to be the team owner or even a league owner than to be LeBron James. That kind of freakishly talented, physical prowess comes one in very few. But to have the business acumen to own an NBA team or be on the business side, I think you can all school yourself and get to that level. But to be LeBron is actually harder. But the comedy is that the guys who manage LeBron or own LeBron, they get paid better. And the neat thing is that their career doesn't have to end when their knees are shot. They can continue with their business guy bit all the way till they're 60, 70, 80. So, there you go. But anyways, that link was for my religious people who seem to not be people of faith. They don't believe that they can represent themselves well, which is not surprising. Shout out to Patient supporting the work, came in. Mouse acknowledge via PayPal. Shout out to Mr. Chung. He writes, thank you for reminding us to invest in our relationships, whether it's family or romantic. I appreciate you. Absolutely. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Shout out to Frank. He writes, to wish him also acknowledge. Tommy, he writes, this is off topic, but what are your thoughts on mates who sleep with their coworkers? Males who sleep with their coworkers. It's less than ideal. I personally think it's inappropriate and unprofessional. Well, aside from all that, it's going to mess with your money. So I'd probably not do it. Shout out to Frank. He writes, boss, you are a humble spiritual teacher. Let's regroup. Thank you. That's a good point. That's a good point, sir. Thank you for that reminder. Shout out to Mr. Thompson, supporting the work. Yes, indeed. I am, in fact, just a humble spiritual teacher. Yes, sir, Bob. Yeah, one of the things that's crazy is that you have so many of the blacks, they want to be into religion, they want to be into the arts and music, and these are all of the things that are not the math-based, rational, business-minded, business-oriented, productive, measurable, predictable pursuits. These are all the fuzzy, faith-based, like I hope it works, long shot, improbable, silly things that are very difficult. Like if you said, how do you become Drake? It'll be really tough to write that down. You see, um, it'd be very tough to write that down and follow a step-by-step guide. It'd be really tough because you could follow all the steps and still not win just because like there's a particular voice that he has maybe, or there's a particular physical appearance. You have to remember in the music business and the entertainment business, what you look like matters and you can't change that. So if you don't have the look, you're out. Whereas what's the look to be a team owner in football or in soccer or in basketball? There's no look. You got to have the capital. You got to have the experience, the business acumen. And that's what people, they're not taking the more reasonable route. And I think it really starts with a lack of education and a lack of self-belief. They've seen many Black people sing, dance, rap, romance, and carry a football or whatever ball, but they've not seen enough examples of themselves perform in business at a high level. And so human beings are creatures of imitation. And so they imitate that which they think is realistic. But the irony is that these are not realistic things. They're not impossible. They're just improbable. And when people talk to me, I have to just assume that they're a fairly average person because they're strangers. And I try to tell them what is most reasonable, most likely. And yeah, frankly, being a soccer star or a rap superstar it's slim, and this is sad because even if you have talent, that still is not enough. Like that's the crazy part. It's like, it's still not the whole ball game. If you're a software engineer and you have talent in the engineering field, that's enough. That's more than enough. But you might be a singer or a rapper and being talented is just not enough. Shout out to Heels In supporting the work. Appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. Shout out to the truth seekers, the truth tellers, the truth hearers. Shout out to those folks. And may I acknowledge Patient, who just became a member at thesassin.com. That's THESASN.com. One thing I do want to make a study of, if someone would find some good research on how the Hebrew Israelites recruit, obviously telling people that they're like the chosen people, that's very helpful. This is what certain groups do. So that's very helpful. I'm not going to lie to people, but aside from that, I'd be curious as to what their recruitment methods are, because we can learn a lot from them. They've been reasonably successful with recruitment. So if someone would do some study on that, I want to do a live session and bring, the real thinkers on, and let's have a conversation about what we can emulate from those gentlemen. Were you one of the religious folks that I dropped the link for? Okay, this gentleman is muted. I don't think he realizes he's muted. It's okay. Anyways, ladies and saints, a heck of a day for me, but I'm glad that I had some time to spend with you all on this very important topic of relationships. And so, play this back. If you're a member, do play this back and take action, literally while you're listening to it. One thing I'm going to take action on is there's a good friend of mine who's always been a great friend to me, and I haven't reached out to him in a while, and that's really my mistake. And so I'm going to reach out to him and apologize, number one, because that's what you do when you're wrong. I'm going to apologize, and then try to do the right thing, which is to patch up a good relationship. He's a good friend, which means an asset. And I'm going to do that now because now is the best time on the clock. I encourage you to do the same thing. And in your case, it might not be patching up a relationship. It might be deciding to step away from a relationship. It might be deciding to create opportunities to make new, good, intelligent, interesting friends. We would like to help you with that. The Assassin is filled with honorable men and women. We have great events coming up. We have Saints Weekend, which is one of my favorite traditions that we have. And you can join at thesassin.com, THESASN.com. Once you go through new member orientation on the 1st, you'll get our Discord link. You'll be able to meet up with folks. We do regular exercises, outings, socializing, spitting games. Some people take trips, all kinds of stuff. We welcome you. Ladies and saints, it has been a pleasure to have this time to fellowship with you all. Until next time, peace to the saints.